Hey everyone, welcome to Virtual Veg Fest Live, our Thursday edition. And we're pretty excited about our talk today, and I'm sure you will be too. So, first of all, let's say thank you to the Plant Based Network for being our partner, and also to Follow Your Heart for sponsoring our live talks this week. If you haven't followed Follow Your Heart, please do, because they make those incredible products like Vegan-Ace and they have vegan cheese, and they have this vegan gluten-free bakery in California and LA. Just some simple stuff like that. It's absolutely delicious. And of course, if you don't know, we have our contest for you to subscribe to Virtual Veg Fest on our YouTube channel. And we are going to pick at the end of the month 4 winners to win a Follow Your Heart gift pack, a Crofters Organic gift pack, a Hodo Foods gift pack, or a Sun Warrior gift pack. So you definitely want to go and subscribe to our channel, because those are some really neat and cool prizes that you can get. Now, please shop at virtualvegfest.com to support our vendors. And let's talk about Philip. So Philip Anthony Mangan is here with us, who I thought was coming on from New York, and then saw that he was in Florida, and then saw that he was in Hawaii. So it made it's like even cooler. He's in Hawaii, and he pretty much just got there recently. And he's a vegan model. He's an activist. He's a health coach. He can help you with your fitness. He's an actor. And now he's a farmer. So I really want to get into knowing what's going on and who he is and all of that, because I'm incredibly curious. I haven't met him. He wrote to me to come and speak at our events this year, and we were discussing it, and I was kind of full, and it was almost going to happen. Then everything, just as he knows, just stopped. And then I was doing these lives, and I said, well, you know what? Let me reach out to that guy, Philip, and see if he wants to come on. And then I had no idea that there was going to be so much more to talk about than just oh, hey, he's a vegan model, and he can help you with your fitness. So I'm going to throw this at Philip so he can tell you a little bit more about him, and then we're going to dive a little deeper into what's he doing in Hawaii.
Well, thank you for the intro, and I'm happy to be here and speaking with you today. And I guess I should say aloha, everyone.
Aloha.
Yeah, and I am in Hawaii right now. I'm on the island of Maui, and I guess I am just kind of staying one step ahead of the virus, I like to say. I left New York when it got really bad. Then I left Florida about today is day 44 here, so I left Florida right before it got really bad. So I am in the safest spot I can possibly be. And as you said, yes, I am a vegan model. I am an activist. I am a certified personal trainer, health coach, influencer, and yes, now a farmer. I came to Hawaii to learn about regenerative agriculture. And yeah, it's definitely a very aligns very much with everything else I'm doing, I feel like, because as you go to the root of everything, you go to how our food is made or how our food is produced. And I think if anything, the pandemic was this wake-up call in my head. It just kind of was like this alarm, like everyone's panic buying. Well, that's because we don't know how to survive. you know do you know where your blueberries, how do you get blueberries, how do you get all these different things? And I think it just it clicked at that moment, and it made me start focusing on, I'm going to create a garden at my parents' house and start learning about how to grow my own food. And even more as the pandemic kind of progressed, and I started seeing this like who was more susceptible to the virus and why, it made me really kind of see how this food inequality is out there, especially for minorities and people of color. And then it made me kind of almost even more passionate about learning about this stuff so I can help others in that way. So long story short, I decided to do a work trade program, and goes by Woofing, WWOOF, I believe, .org.com. If you want to look it up and look into it, but I'm doing work trade here and kind of just figuring it out as I go. It's a 13-acre property, and there's a waterfall on the property. I actually just came from the waterfall right before I got on here. little morning dip in the water, and yeah, it's been a blessing so far. Every day is a blessing, and just learning a lot. And when I'm not out there doing work on the land, I am in here learning, reading about it, watching videos, and then just applying it out there, and just excited about everything that I've learned so far, and that I'm going to be continuing to learn, because I'm going to be here indefinitely as of right now. Not There's no time frame, and we'll see what happens.
That is so cool. And just so everyone is watching, please let us know you're here. Say hi, say where you're from. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them in the comment box and we will address them, which is really cool. And of course, the one thing that all of you can do that are watching is wish Philip a happy birthday. Because today is his 38th birthday, and I'm not going to sing, but it is his birthday. And this is really cool for him because his desire, his dream this year, his goal was to do public speaking, and COVID kind of threw that out the window. And
Yeah.
this ended up being, I had no idea until today that today was his birthday. So this is him completing one of his goals that he had for 2020 on a date that, is his birthday. And there's Natalie Lewis. She just wished you happy
Oh,
birthday, which is really
thanks,
cool. Thank
Natalie. Yeah, I mean, I will appreciate the birthday wishes, and yeah, it's definitely been one of my goals for a while. It's one of the things that lights me up the most, and it's about speaking my story, sharing my experiences, and inspiring others. I feel like I've gained a lot of knowledge throughout my life, especially in the last 10 years, and I look at it this way: like, if I can save someone else time, energy, money, etc., and give them this kind of information I've learned, then they can elevate past me. And that's kind of the goal right now, is just to keep gaining this knowledge and adding a new chapter to my story with whatever I take on, and then share it to others, because I don't want people to think that they can't do what I'm doing. I just kind of had an idea and ran with it, and now I'm in Maui. I never thought last year at this time, I never thought even in 2020 that I'd be in Hawaii. It never even was registered in my head that I even wanted to do this, to go to live in Hawaii. I kind of knew about the farming thing a little bit, because I was very interested in it, but I never thought, oh, I should go to Hawaii and do that, and I should take on this experience. And I think that's kind of how, if you're open, whatever it is, like, obviously, whatever it is in your life, if you're open to new and to change and to adapting, then that's when the magic happens, because then you're just like, wow, imagine what I can do. Imagine what I can do. And that, I mean, even if I would have thought that I would have ever become a model, I didn't even think that, that wasn't really on my radar, even though a lot of people told me for years, you should be a model, you should be a model, to actually go and, not even have that, you know, hey, this is my goal. I just wanted to go to New York when I did, and then things fell into place the way they did. But I had to work for it. I saw that there was an opportunity, but I had to do a lot of work to, I like to say, climb through the window, because no one let me in the door.
That's another great way to put it. And true, it's not an easy business. Acting and modeling. New York City is not an easy city at
No,
all.
no,
I'm from New York, so I know.
yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, I learned that firsthand when I moved there, and I think I had to. I was transitioning from my previous, like, so before I moved to New York. If you guys want to kind of hear my story a bit more, before I moved to New York, I was running a party bus business, and I did that for several years. I was big in, completely opposite lifestyle, but ran a business for 6.5 years. And one of the things was, it allowed me to kind of get to New York that last year. I used it as a platform, because I was still running the business when I moved to New York, so I didn't have to dive into a 9 to 5 job. But the insurance rates were getting so high for that business and it just wasn't worth the risk anymore. So a couple months after I moved to New York, I had no income coming in. So I had to take on, jobs that I was overqualified for, but was trying to become a model at the time. So I was a doorman at Tiffany's, and I just remember every day that I went to that job, I was like, I wanted to quit. Honestly, it was probably because I need to be doing something constructive. If I'm not doing something constructive that I feel like, okay, I'm progressing, I'm learning, I'm interacting in a certain way, but I was literally watching the clock. And the thing that I realized during that time was no one made me come to New York. No one told me, hey, you have to be here. I put myself in that position, so I had to suck it up and do that. So in check, like, New York's tough. I got to pay these expensive bills. Well, you better do whatever it takes if you want that other thing, if you want the modeling thing to work. So I kind of just made myself look at it in a different perspective, I think, and that kind of helped me continue to, just keep that goal in mind, and then eventually I got it into the industry and started making some money, and then I allowed it basically, it made me money enough to survive off of, to where I was able to focus the rest of my time on other things that I'm passionate about. So, but yeah, long story short, New York is tough, and I see why people kind of go for a little bit and they experience it and they're like, I think it's not for me, because it is tough. I mean, it's a tough city to live in, but then you go, the weather too. I mean, I came from Florida, and it's the winter was never my favorite.
Not mine either. So I am now in the South as well, not as far south as Florida, but North Carolina. I mean, we get like an inch of snow on a normal season. So it's good. We get ice, but still, winter is nothing like up north. And being from New York, growing up, going into Manhattan pretty much until I moved away, I I can handle New York City. I can handle Manhattan for about 36 hours before I say, "Where's my car? Where's my car? Where's my supermarket?" So I sound privileged, which is okay because I understand that I need to live in suburbia. I'm not an urban person. So the beauty that you're in right now is probably more my style than than concrete and sidewalks I love it. I love it so much. It's like I still to this day. I mean, born and raised in New York. New Yorker look up at the skyscrapers and go, "Wow,"
Mhm.
but I don't want to live here. I was like,
No,
nope,
no.
nope, nope.
I totally get it. I mean, it's it's good in small doses. Um,
Yes,
that's the best way to put it, is, because when you're there too long, you start letting the environment get to you to a certain extent, and you can't really, like, so whenever I was there, I would always kind of, especially during the winter time, whenever I was there during the winter time, I would take a trip home every month to Florida just to escape. And because it was a cheap plane ticket, and then I got to see my family, but also go back into that warm weather and that, more nature environment. And it definitely kept me going through the winter to make it through it. But yeah, it's good in small doses, I'd say, New York. And like I said, it has such great energy. That's the attraction of it. It's but also at the same time, are you running off your own pace of life? Most likely not. You're trying to keep up with the energy of the city, and that's not good for balance.
I agree 100%. I also lived in Northern California and got rid of that fast pace. New York really, really fast paced because you can't be fast paced and live in Northern California. They just won't. They won't allow it. And then moved back to New York, refused to speed back up. Absolutely refused to do it. It's so much healthier to understand that you don't have to go a million miles an hour in order to survive. You don't
Right.
actually have to be that way. And that you only learn when you leave. When you're born there, you never, that all you know is that fast-paced energy, workhorse energy. And getting out was one of the healthiest things that I've ever done for myself. Going back for 7 years, not so much, but getting out again, learn the lesson. Never going back. I'm good. I visit.
Took a bit
That's
of
it.
time.
Yes.
No,
So
no.
I'm
Go
kind of
ahead.
curious, Philip, about how you got to becoming the vegan model. Like, you have a story where you, or the party bus, and it wasn't just the bus, that the people on the bus that were partying. You were doing the partying too, which led to, like, I just read an article about Philip where it led to a very up and down emotional depression, difficulty with your own life, which a lot of people go through. So I'd love for you to touch on that, because I think it'll resonate with a lot of people, especially now with with COVID and people being stuck at home and possibly having some of those feelings. So I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, no, yeah, so I was I went to Florida State University, it's a super big party school. Never was really into that party scene in high school. So when I went to college, I kind of dove into it way too much, and it just was consuming to a certain extent. And I let it linger. Probably it was kind of what I knew. Like even when I graduated college, it kind of was like, oh, do I want this to end? Do I want this to end? And I didn't, because I didn't. The thing is, I never knew what I wanted to do with my life. So I kind of, even when I was in school, wasn't this is this is my thing. I can't wait to graduate and go do this thing I'm passionate about. So I just knew that I was good at partying. and I was, continuing on with that. But then you know, like I think it was about 2 years, 2.5 years after I graduated, um, I ended up buying an old school bus with one of my best friends, and we had this idea to turn it into a party bus company. And we ended up doing that, which was great because we kind of took it. The economy was really bad at the time in 2008. That was when, and I got actually working at a job, and I got like a startup company. I got laid off and was collecting unemployment, and I used my unemployment money to invest into the bus. So I figured, all right, this is, I'll create something from nothing, from this, and it was great to create. But the thing is, it kind of jump started the whole college career again. We had it was like, okay, college again is happening, because that's, we're in this whole realm. It's a lifestyle business. If you're in a party, or in a college town, and you're running a party bus company, what better way to get people to join in than being out every night and promoting it, kind of thing. And yeah, so I think after a good amount of time of doing the partying, it kind of really, I had the highs and the lows. Like I would if I wasn't continuously partying, the days that I would go into like a really depression of questioning what I'm doing. And I knew that it wasn't healthy. But the thing is, all my friends were, acting the same way. So I felt like this is okay to be doing. It didn't make me see like anything different, because I wasn't surrounding myself with anything different. And that's what I always say. It's like, you're going to thrive or not thrive based on the environment you surround yourself you you surround yourself in. So that means, like, whether it's people or even just nation where you live, those play a major part in it. And it definitely was playing a major part in my life, because it kept me in that same circle, and whether I knew it was destructive for me or not, I kept staying in that circle. And it wasn't until I started dating a girl that was not into partying and all of that, and it kind of pulled me away from the people that I used to hang with and the things I was doing all the time. And it made me see things a little bit differently, because since I wasn't partying as much and I wasn't drinking as much, it made me think clearer. It made me see things that I wasn't seeing before. So by doing that, it kind of helped uplift me in certain ways. And a big part of that, I feel like, is, I was gaining this kind of emotional intelligence at the time too, because I felt like very, very numb during those like party days. It's just, you're doing it on repeat and you're not feeling much and you're not feeling ambitious. You're not feeling any of those things, and you're not seeing yourself being selfish, too. Because I felt like I was acting very selfishly when I look back on it now. A lot of the relationships I was in prior to that, I would be the one that would break up with the person, and it was just because of my like, okay, I want to party, I don't want to deal with this, or I missed out on like family things because I was more focused on my partying or doing this or that than actually being a part of my family's events that had happened, and seeing that now is like tough, to think like, but now like that I have that knowledge, obviously I try to be a better part of my family. I'm there for, my nieces and stuff, like, as they're growing up, and different things in that aspect. But it took a lot to get me out of that. But that whole realm of things. But like I said, I think it was from the thing was the relationship that I had with the girl at the time. And long story short, she broke up with me about a year after that. But the thing was, I saw myself climbing that ladder a little bit, and I could either reverted back, I thought, or I continue on this journey and see where it takes me. And I decided for the latter, and I continued on. And then that just really, really just made me think, like, it just really kind of stacking one little small win on each other. And it was like, okay, I want to see where this next thing takes me. How can I do this better? How can I be better? And that's literally the way I live now. I like wake up every day, like, how can I be a better person? How can I, do something differently to impact my surroundings? And long story short, after I moved to New York, um, right around the time I got into the modeling industry, since I was so open to different changes in my life, I moved to a new city, started a new job, and I was just open to change. And I watched a documentary, What the Health, um, and it just spoke to me. Like I think and like I said, when you're open, things speak to you when you're open. When you're not ready to listen to the message and actually hear it and understand the message, the messages that can come, but you just keep going on with your life. And I was doing that for a while, but since I was open and I was gaining that more openness as I went, it was like boom, wow, I felt like I've been lied to my whole life, and I threw
You
everything out of
were.
my yeah, and I threw out all the meat and dairy and stuff in my fridge, and that night, and the next day I was going full blown into a vegan diet. And I didn't. The thing is, I was super interested in nutrition for many years prior, because I've always been big into like health and fitness. So even though I had no clue what I was doing, it just I had this desire to gain the knowledge. So I'm like on there researching, like, especially in my downtime from like modeling, you have all this free time. So like, why not fill my mind up with valuable information of how to better myself? So I'm just, how do vegans get their protein and all these different things? And the thing is, it was it was tough, like the diet at first, because I didn't go into this like little transitional thing. It was like whole food, plant-based diet from the start. Like, I want to eat the healthiest I can. So it was tough, like on the digestive system. When you try to change your digestive system, I'm sure it's not like you eat a certain way for 30. I ate it like, I went vegan when I was 34, and when you eat a certain way for 34 years of your life, it's going to take time to adjust. And yeah, so it wasn't easy by any means, and I don't recommend people doing it the way I did it, but that was just like my personality. It's like, when I go in and my work ethic is so strong, it's like, I want to figure this out. I want to learn. I'm going to do it this way, and it's like through trial and error. And so went vegan, and it started opening my mind. And I went vegan for the health reasons at first. There was nothing else in that realm of thing, like line of sight. And then as I started, the more I started learning, I was like, wait, I care what I'm putting in my body. Well, what about what I'm putting on my body with like products and stuff? And then I started making my own products because I thought, hey, well, what's the best way to control the ingredients? It's to make the product. And also, not only just make the product, it's cheaper to make these products. And then also, when I started seeing how the products have all this packaging that's bad for the environment, it started making me see that line. And then the more that I learned about the diet as well, the thing that really kind of really struck me the most was the impact it has on the environment. And when I kind of just like mind blown, every day down the rabbit hole. And when I get to that point, I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. Like, how did I not know this? And now there's no way I'm going back from being vegan, because now that I know it's good for the planet and this and that. And then even to take it a step further, when I saw like different impacts into the fashion industry and different things like that, it just, every single little part of it connected on a greater scale and just made me say, wow, I'm glad I'm not eating this way. Or I'm glad I'm not eating this way for another reason, another reason, another reason. And the more my interest, gained and grew from it, the more I just kind of felt really connected, and kind of just finding kind of my voice in that realm. Because at first when I was a model, like I didn't feel very fulfilled from it. It was like, wow, this is cool. Someone wants to pay me to do a job. I just went from cleaning up throw up on party buses to, hey, someone wants to pay me to take some pictures. This is great. It's a blessing. Trust me. Like I did not take anything for granted, any of the jobs I had, but it just was lacking something, and I felt that. But then when I went vegan and I started learning all these things, I started seeing that I had more of a voice, and using this platform for that voice. And so, a good friend of mine, a good friend of mine, they put an idea in my head, and it was like, why don't you brand yourself as a vegan model? And I thought about this, a couple times, like, wow, like, yeah, that'd be a good idea. And then the thing is, I just, I knew that I was gonna do the name, but I had no clue where I was gonna take it. It was just like, I know I'm confident. I was like, because I'm a businessman at heart, so I know, like, wow, there's a niche right there. No guys are talking about sustainable living really, or any of that stuff. This is like a female dominated industry, so I can find my little niche there, and then I can make a positive impact, because I want to show guys that this stuff is fine to do. Like, I don't mind making products all day. I don't mind cooking food. I don't, any of that stuff that people consider feminine. What's wrong with that? It's like building a house. Why can't I, making a product is like making something with your hands, as far as like, if you're crafting a house or something. So when I think it was 2018, January 1st, I changed my name on Instagram, and it was like, now 100% sure there's no going back. I'm that confident. That's why I'm doing it. I'm that confident. I will never eat another animal product again. So, but I had no clue where I was going to roll with it. But slowly just started figuring things out. And it just made me realize I don't really know that much. Like I thought, like, I'm the vegan model. Hire me. I'm gonna be a public speaker now. But that was the funny thing, is I had such like goals in mind that I was looking too much further too far ahead. I didn't think like I needed to go through different phases and see what my exact message is going to be, because it's such a wide range of things, and I like to think big. It's all encompassing in my head all of the time. Like, wow, I can talk about this and this. So I started doing, the vegan model Instagram page, and I'm talking about fitness one day, like vegan fitness, and then, clothes the next day, and then products the next day. So yeah, I'm building a following, but the thing is, people don't know, what is this guy? He's doing fitness, he's doing all these different things. So I'm all over the place, but I'm still building a following, and I'm still learning a lot, which is great. I'm just filling my head full of knowledge. And over time, I started seeing things that really, really spoke to me more than other things. I never was, even though I'm like the vegan model, and you think like, oh, fashion model or something. Like, I I'm not a big person into fashion as far as like buying clothes, because you know what the best thing to do is, don't buy stuff, a lot of stuff. That's the best thing you can do for the environment. Like, what am I gonna tell you to go? What am I gonna tell you to buy all these vegan clothes? But the thing is, we don't need new clothes. We just need to stop buying clothes. Like, even if you had like even if you had like, a belt that's leather, or shoes that are leather, it doesn't mean go throw this stuff out and go buy something new, because that's the problem, you know. So I realized right then, I'll never be the fashion, guy, like influencer in that manner. And then more so, I realized what I was connected to most was the nutrition, the diet, and also just the mental and physical health, basically in general. And that's kind of like where I started taking it over time. And got my personal training certification, just so I can gain more knowledge in that realm. I got a fitness nutrition certification too, and just really tried to give myself accreditation for these things, because a lot of people do health and wellness coaching in different ways, but you don't. I go on their site, and I'm like, these guys are not even accredited. Like, who would? Why are these? I mean, I give them credit. They're great at marketing, but I honestly wouldn't hire someone unless I said, "What makes you qualified?" Just because you say it, or did you actually do the work and learn it? So I know I'm just going off on this long tangent here, but that's kind of where it brought me over the past year. And then to take health another step further, that is why I'm actually here learning about the food. Because if people don't have access to healthy food, then they're not going to be able to get themselves out of the situation they're in. Whether their health is suffering, they're going to be in. They're basically going to keep continuing on in this circle of life, to where they're for years and years, because they're not making any changes. And I really want to bring this knowledge of growing food in this different way. I'm right now I'm interested in the perennial agriculture, like different perennial agriculture plants. So if you don't, I'm not sure if you how familiar you are with different gardening stuff, but for all the other viewers out there, perennials, they don't they're not an annual crop, so you don't have to plant them every year. So say soybeans are an annual crop, so you plant it, it dies, and it stops producing. You have to plant it again. Well, I'm more interested in the plants that you plant once and you keep yielding from. And the more I started learning about that, I was just mind blown again. It's just, wow, like, why are we not planting more of these? Why not eating more of these different types of varieties that we hear about? And it just kind of got me to that level of thinking, wow, I can take this knowledge and maybe help people that don't have the access to foods, and help them create maybe food forests in the future, of in their community, etc., to where they actually don't have to rely on the supermarkets and these different things. And plus, one thing that I've realized lately is farming or gardening in general is just very therapeutic for your mental health. And I mean, it's something about connecting to the land in a different way. It's giving you purpose. And I think a lot of people out there, they don't they don't know what their purpose is, or they don't have this higher purpose. And I think that kind of keeps them in that similar realm of thinking, because there's so many messages being thrown at us, so much information, whether it's good or bad, every day, that we're not able to think for ourselves. When I'm out there working the land, um, I just feel fulfilled, honestly. I might not be able to, I might not be helping people right very this minute, but I know that I'm doing something that's going to make an impact here, and then that I'm gaining something that's going to make an impact in the future. So it's just a very, very, it's hard to explain 100%, but just a very fulfilling feeling. And I can't wait to see where it continues to go, because there's so much to learn.
So you're an entrepreneur, you're a business person, you clearly have the get go and the gumption and the drive in whatever you put yourself into. I mean, that's clear. I mean, you set out, even with the party bus, you set out with, I want to continue partying like in college. So you created a job that allowed you to do that. Healthy or not, doesn't matter. You still created something that let you do what you wanted to do in that moment in time, until you met somebody who helped you refocus and go in a different
Mm.
direction, which led you to say, like, you have all these people saying, like, oh, look at you, look at those hazel eyes, you should go model, right? So you travel to New York
Uh-huh.
and you do what you have to do to make a career in modeling and acting. I watched your video of your commercials, which people can find at your website, which is your full name, the Philip Anthony Mangan.com. So you can watch a video of like all his commercials that he's been in, which was pretty interesting and fun to watch, because it runs the gamut from you like being a
Yeah.
family guy to us to like in a relationship. It was really cute. And then, you write, and you you take in the knowledge that is presented before you, and you create something with it that helps fulfill your passion. And that in itself is remarkable, because there's not a lot of
Oh,
people
thank
who
you.
have that drive. Don't forget that. Not a lot of people
Yeah,
have
thank
that. So the fact that you're doing something with it is incredibly important.
Oh, thank you so much. I think I say it's a gift and a curse at times. Um,
Yep.
at times, because I get so caught up, I can get overwhelmed easily, because I want to do so much, and I'm just one man. And I'm tough on myself, I think, in many ways. And I think being here, actually, and being here has been very therapeutic for that, because I don't feel rushed, and I've been, I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. And maybe I'm not putting out as much stuff, because I always want to like share with people, that I'm just like a teacher at heart, and I'm super, super into writing, and basically being able to connect my thoughts and feelings into words, and sharing that with people so they can feel that too, and get actually something out of it. So I'm very difficult, like, hard on myself in my writing. But the thing is, I've been learning to kind of really take a step back and only share when I'm really, really, I have something to say. Because I think most people, they put out stuff too much, and they're not really saying any message. You're just adding to the clutter. And I say, well, I'm not going to add to the clutter. I'm just going to put out something when I have something to say. And I just feel like, not rushed anymore. But like I said, it's a gift and a curse to have that kind of drive. But it's more so a gift, because I know that many people, they don't they don't have that connection like I have to the things that I'm doing. And it took me a while to find it. And I don't want people to like think like, oh, this guy's doing all these different things. I mean, it started with one little step, and it opened one door and started open another one, and and so on and so on. But you have to start somewhere. You have to I think one of my best gifts right now is just to kind of self-evaluation. Like, how am I feeling? Am I happy here? Am I progressing? Do I need to get out of this circle? And I do journaling every morning, and it's really kind of just not to share with anyone else, but it's a journal to kind of put my feelings in check, or my thoughts in check, and seeing if I need to progress from here or need to change something off. So I think if anyone's looking to get started, a journal is a great idea of just kind of self-evaluation, so you can kind of get things out. Because if you're not getting them out, then you're not going to really be able to change anything. You're not going to be able to let more in that is good. And I love getting stuff out, whether it's my thoughts or even just like tears. Whenever I can get some tears out, it's I always feel rejuvenated, like ready, like, yeah, like I can let some more positive things in, and it's just I think it makes you like stronger in a sense and I think that's one of the things I realized that most men aren't in touch with is their emotional intelligence. And I think that's actually really helped me connect to things on a greater scale. And that's kind of why I see like our gap, in between the health of the environment and the planet, and the health of our mental and our physical health. Because if you're not emotionally connected in your feeling, how are you going to give a crap about the planet, honestly? So that's why I think there's just so much there that is separate. Because you know for many years, in my party bus company, we used the plastic cups and the water bottles and everything. And not once did it register. Like, yeah, I heard messages, since I've been growing up, that we need to recycle and we need to plant, climate change and all this and that. Nothing registered in the head like, maybe we shouldn't be using these plastic cups. But when I started letting more into myself, and opening myself up in new ways, I was able to bring that emotional connection to other things outside of my world, to where, okay, well, it's not just me. I was able to show compassion for other things. And I think that's probably the most valuable skill I've gained in this process, is that I'm able to show compassion easily to, because I think, how would I want how would I want to be treated? How would I want this to be left, or this and that? Because I care about I don't have any kids. I hope to have kids one day, but I don't have any kids. But I have nieces and I have friends that have kids, and it's like, well, why shouldn't they be able to get to experience what we are right now? Like, I want to preserve that for them. And I think that's somewhere our disconnect there between the two is something that the issue, like we're all in a rush. And especially with the virus, I think if you couldn't, I think one of the positive things that really came out of the virus was, like, you were able to see the planet bounce back, that how much harm we were causing to it, and then you start seeing these different areas that have had smog, or the rivers and all these different things, like, they started bouncing back, and they were able to breathe again. And if that's not more blatant that we need to change, I don't know what is. But the thing is, so many people in charge, they're money driven, and that's the unfortunate thing, But I always say, what's good money? What good is money if you're dead? If there's no planet, So it's to sum up, like, my thoughts are, when I say I'm vegan for the planet, because without the planet, money doesn't exist, nothing exists.
Exactly. Or at least humans might not exist, but the animals and creatures that we didn't destroy will still be here to, rejuvenate and grow
Oh yeah,
and and survive without us here to kill them.
yeah. Well, if it's
Sadly,
not,
but sadly but true.
if the temperatures are not too extreme, life will find a way. It has
Yeah.
for forever. Life will find a way, just maybe not human life.
Exactly. We'll just destroy it enough so that we'll be gone, but hopefully not enough that the planet implodes so that it can, all these poor creatures that we're currently destroying with creating climate change and the animals that are going extinct because they can't stand being here anymore because we're killing them or we're killing their environments for the sake of animal ag. That's what happens.
Yeah.
In order to feed our bodies with food that we don't actually need, that's harmful for us, animal agriculture, we are killing the planet and killing our bodies. It doesn't make any sense, but it makes sense to all those people who like, this is the only food I know to eat, whereas you don't really need that food. You don't need it all to
Well,
be
yeah, I
healthy
think
or to get your protein or anything.
right. Yeah, and I think that's where the disconnect comes, where most people are they're in this realm of thinking that they don't feel like they need to change because everyone else is doing it, and this is the message, this is how we were growing up, and it's how we were raised, sorry. But yeah, that's kind of the thing. What I'm getting at is, I don't think people are going to want to change. And I know this, from the people I've coached and stuff like that. I always say, why do you want to change? Because if you don't want to change, I'm not going to be able to make you change. I hope to inspire you to change and maybe open something in your mind, but you have to want to change. And in order to actually want to change, you have to kind of put yourself in a position to be open to something different. And I think that's what most people aren't. They're not open to something different because this is what they think defines them. Oh, I can never not eat meat, like, and they don't want to, like I said, they don't want to make that emotional connection to it too, because I don't want to watch that animal getting harmed, or they don't want to think about where their food comes from. But that's the problem. Like, I want to know. I want to know. Why do you want to? Why would you not want to know? I want to know if I'm harming myself. But people seem to be wanting to not know and then pay for it later on. So they want to be able to continue on. I want to be preventative. People want to be corrective.
Exactly, proactive. And
Yeah.
you're right. What you eat as a child, and people don't think about this, it destroys me when I see parents giving their kids absolutely horrific standard American diet foods, because I know in that little body, that's their foundation for their adulthood. And if you create a poor foundation of really crappy food, then as they get older and get into their own adulthood, that's their foundation for their heart and for their lungs and for their blood. That and you can reverse those things whenever you choose to make the difference in what you put into your body. So
Mm-hmm.
to see the kids eating fried food and high fat and dairy and meat, it drives me nuts. I wanted to shake them and go, "You're killing your children." I mean, it's like, how could you do that? Because you don't know, because you this is what has always been done, so therefore you should always do it. That's not true. It's because it's always been done a certain way does not mean that's the correct way. And
Mm-hmm.
veganism, plant-based, whole food, plant-based, it's not a cult. There's conspiracy theory cult things going on in the world right now, but this isn't one of them. This has been proven science by doctors, medical
Mm-hmm.
journals, the American Cancer Association. Have all said there's foods that you're typically putting into your body: cold cuts, meat, sugar,
Yeah.
dairy, cause cancer, cause heart issues, high cholesterol, all of these things that can lead to a premature death in your life. Why? Why would you want to do that, except for the fact that it tastes good and you don't want to know? And until the seed that we're planting today, the seeds that you plant whenever you talk to somebody, the seeds that everyone else is doing, or whatever movies they watch, until those seeds take root and start to sprout, they'll keep doing what they're doing. But if someone watches this, or someone learns, or reads, or somebody gets sick, and the doctor says, "Have you ever thought about maybe eating more plants instead of like going on this cholesterol medication? Do you maybe it's like maybe change your diet first?" If a
Mhm.
doctor actually has that knowledge, because they don't always, it would be, it's life changing. Forks Over Knives is my go-to movie. We
I
just
watched.
recently watched it again. It's the best movie because it's science. And it's
Well,
two of
yeah,
the coolest doctors in the world, Dr. Campbell, Dr. Esselton. So you can't, if your mind is open, because it has to be receiving, and you watch that movie, you don't come out of that movie and continue the same diet if you're
it.
open.
Well, I think that's part of it too, but also you have to realize too that the system is set up to make these foods that we've been eating addictive,
Yep.
and it's easier said than done to just change. And I think that's what's the difficult part is the system is set it up to where, and especially the food system is set up to make people addicted to these unhealthy foods. And that's the thing that's been so difficult for people, because they can't imagine not having them, and it's making them not think clearly. And then not only that, it's making them crave it, crave it, crave it. So when I think people, like, when they talk about, like, emotional eating, all these different things, it's really the food is designed to be addictive. They want you to eat more of it. So it unless you have some self control, which that is one of my better qualities. I was saying, like, just I think I've had really good self control for many years now, that I can do something and be like, okay, I don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need that. But it's hard if you don't have that, just to go straight off into a mental thing, like, oh, I'm connected to that, I'm quitting. It's hard for people, even if they know that this is the right thing to do. It's much easier said than done. And I think that's the thing, is, like, like what we talked about, changing the diet. Even you emotionally connect with something, you still have to be consistent with what you're doing in order to actually make a change that's going to last. Most people, even whether they want to lose weight or change, and make little changes in general, the reason they don't fail is because they're not consistent with it. And it's really hard to be consistent, unfortunately, with something that's designed to make you fail. And I think that's what the problem is, nowadays. But that's just another reason why I think growing food and being able to have your access to your foods that don't have these additives and different things, and really just it's going to take a lot of education from the ground up to get people out of this, the poverty that they're in in the system. Sorry, that the systems put them in, to where they're either living in a food desert, or that they don't have access to any of the good stuff. But I believe that we are on the road to change. Just we need to just band together the best we can, because we are against the monster, especially with the. I mean, I don't know if you've ever read or listened to. I listen to audiobooks, but the Dorito Effect. Have you ever heard of that book?
No.
Oh, I think that was one of the books I listened to right before I came to the farmland here. And it made me can't like it made me even more so realizing how uh foods have been designed to make us addicted to it. And when you hear the word natural flavors, um and why, and most people have questions about, like, what are the natural flavors. Those natural flavors, they are derived from something that came from a plant, and then added synthetic elements all on top of it. So the thing is, when we have those natural flavors, we are actually craving the plant, but we don't know that it's a plant, because it doesn't taste like a plant. So then it's really messing up our minds a lot with that whole realm of like eating and thinking in that way. So I highly suggest that book. It's a great read or listen. The Dorito Effect, it's called. Anyone wants to check it out.
Yeah, that's great. I actually put it into the comments as you were saying it. And then to go over some of the comments, so we've had Randy from Cows Come Home in outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, which is you happy birthday. So I'm sure all the cows there do too. And
Thanks,
Randy's
Randy.
awesome. Yeah, she has to come on the show. Then Mark said, excellent review, vegan for life. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you,
And
Mark.
then Cindy just said, vegan for 5 years for health reasons. Thanks for encouraging comments. Of
Awesome.
course, we definitely encourage comments and questions if you have them. And
Congrats.
you know, yes, we both started out for vegan for health reasons and understood the impact of the planet and on the animals. I understood the impact on the animals way before I went vegan. I went vegetarian for a long time.
Oh, nice.
So the animals was always animal rights and products and cruelty free. That started a long time ago. But then, it's a journey. This is a path of a journey that ebbs and flows, and you go
Oh,
in and
yeah.
out, and wherever you end up or wind up is where you are, and wherever you are on that path of your own journey is why Plant-Based Network and Virtual Veg Fest, Triangle Veg Fest, we support you if you're on a meatless Monday, if you're on a lunches only plant-based, wherever you are in your journey, every meal that you choose to take or eat
Mm-hmm.
that isn't animal based saves you, saves the planet, and saves the animals. So that is not something to be discouraged. That's something to be encouraged, as
That's
opposed
right.
to you have to eat vegan all the time. Yes, I would love for you to eat vegan all the time, every single meal, every single day of the year. However, as you said, not always easy. Most people don't go cold straight out of the box. They don't normally just go one day and
Oh, yeah.
omnivore, next day whole food plant based, let alone, I mean, not even vegan. You went whole food plant based, which is, if you don't know, whole food plant based, no salt, no oil, limited salt, limited sugar, limited oils, more on the raw side, no
Beans,
processed foods,
beans,
beans, lots of
grains,
beans.
seeds,
Yes,
and nuts.
and your colon spazzed. I
Yeah,
know it
yeah,
did. So I knew
definitely.
exactly what you were talking about. Like when you start eating this way,
Oh, yeah.
expect to have a lot of
Yeah,
flatulence.
I was uncomfortable for a while there, but then like I simplified my diet and I just started choosing things that I really like. Like I eat sweet potatoes every day. Like I love a sweet potato. I just cleared some little land for a sweet potato patch here, and I think that's when you can simplify anything, and that's kind of one of my biggest things that I try to get across to people is simplification will help you stay consistent and thrive. So if you have all these things that I don't take any supplements, I don't believe in supplements unless you don't have access to the foods. And if I have access, I'd rather eat the food than take a powder or like, a pill. Um, and I think like, you get more nutrients from it anyways, but if you can simplify anything of what you're doing, whether it's like your routine and kind of like fit it into like an easier way of doing it, you're gonna be it's gonna allow you to thrive with it. Because if you start making everything complex, like I gotta have this cooked a certain way or this and that, like just know what satisfies you. I think one of the most empowering things that you can do is knowing what satisfies you and not be influenced by others. So when I first went vegan and I would go to like a restaurant, you start getting all these temptations. Like I'm not at a vegan restaurant, but I'm out with my family or my friends, and they're eating these different things, and you can easily be influenced by those choices, especially the visual choices or the smells. But when you know what satisfies you, and it really empowers you, because then you're like, all right, I know I'm going to eat good. And then like at the end of their meal, like you're just picking out things off the sides and making this masterpiece together, and then you're like, look at that it was that easy. And that's very empowering, I think, when you can start speaking and thinking for yourself and then actually feeling satisfaction from it. then there's no stopping you. I think that that's the best thing that you can possibly do is you stack that. Wow, I made it through that situation. That wasn't so bad. I can do it again. I can do it again. Remember this time, like when it gets tough. Remember that time I made it through that? Oh yeah, I can do it. I can do it again.
Right. And just so people know, when he says food that's satisfying to you, he's not referring to ice cream. He's
Yeah,
referring to healthy foods.
yeah. I'm talking about like creating a little vegetable medley like with something. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm trying to feed my body the things that are gonna make me energized and not make me lag down. You know, I do love me some vegan ice cream. You know, from time to time. I haven't had any actually since I've been here, but you know, I think it's all about that. Like I look at every bit of food that I eat or any choice that I make. You know, if I heard this on a podcast, the doctor said it. He's like, he was making certain choices, and he's like, "This is how I think right before I eat, or this and that. If I love myself, would I eat that? Would I do this? You know? So like, if I loved myself, would I eat this bad thing? Because he said the way he says it is, you know, every decision kind of leads towards that. So it's either you're making decisions for self love or you're not. You know, would you do that to your body or would you do that to yourself if you know it's going to harm you? Are you thinking that before? You know, and now I kind of try to channel that a little bit, like, oh, I'm craving this, but I mean, I'm eating the best I've ever ate here. You know, honestly, that it's a dream. It's a vegan dreamland here. I've had some of the best meals of my life here, and it's fueling me to work and land. So I don't feel like I'm lacking or craving anything. I honestly, I'm getting, and it just it goes to show like, and you can create amazing meals just from beans, grains, vegetables, and it's just honestly, I never feel like I'm lacking. It's hard to explain. I'm sure you feel the same way, but it's just when you get to that level of realizing like that these things are can be just as delicious as the things that you know we're used to or the processed things, then it just boom. Why was I doing that before?
Right. Yes. I think everyone who finally makes changes that are healthier, sorry, dog just went across me, that are healthier for them, and you start feeling the repercussions of your choices, repercussions maybe negative connotation, but there's repercussions of your choices can be positive or negative. When you
Mm-hmm.
feed and fuel your body with delicious whole foods, you know, one, you don't crave the sugars or the fats, and you go and grab, like I ate a mango, like a honey mangoes. Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
goodness. Yeah. So that was before we went live. It's absolutely delicious. And I mean, that's nature's candy. You can't get
Serious
better
right
than
here.
that.
This was
Right.
you know what this was? I boiled have you ever had one of those sweet potatoes that have the purple inside?
I know
So
about them. Yep.
I boiled one and then I got the water and I was drinking it and it was so delicious and I was just thinking like this. It's like who needs fruit juice? It's like natural deliciousness, you know? And it's just like stuff like that. It doesn't click, you know, I think with people that, you know, have been having juice and different things because I honestly think the sugar is so addicting and it's preventing them from actually seeing that there is a problem, you know.
Right. And it's a lot of it has to do with psychology. It's all psychological. A lot of it is psychological when it comes to the foods that we feed ourselves. And
Mm.
once you start feeding yourselves better food, your mind will start changing over to, I want that instead of this. I
Oh
don't have
yeah.
to have the cake. I want, you know, I'd rather have the mango instead of eating the brownie or the cookie. It doesn't mean you don't eat a brownie or cookie or the ice cream. It just means that you're not eating it daily or
Mm.
weekly, that it's a treat that you go, okay, got it, done. And then if you don't have it for a while, then it doesn't taste as good.
Oh
But you're
yeah.
like, I'd rather have that mango. And I want to eat it before mangoes go out of season.
Oh yeah. No, it's
Right?
yeah.
Because that's you. I mean, you're in Hawaii, so you're like,
Oh, I
Your
got
papaya,
the
pineapple village. You know, you need to go to the Dole Plantation on Hawaii,
Oh
just so you
yeah,
know.
I'll have to check it out.
It's
Is that in
it's
Maui or no?
it's on Hawaii. It's on the Big Island,
Oh, it's on the Big
and
Island.
it's
Okay.
it's on the Big Island, so it's really cool. It's actually grow the pineapples, and they have this huge maze that you can go through. It's
Oh
absolutely
yeah.
amazing. And the other thing that on the Big Island that if you're there, because you're so close, just hop on
Hmm.
or a boat, and you have a hurricane coming towards you right now. But that's something else. But
That's all right.
but yeah, but Pearl Harbor is something that is you don't understand Pearl Harbor until you actually go
There
to
you
Pearl
go.
Harbor.
Yeah,
And
that'd
I'm
be.
not obviously we're not talking like fun type stuff right now. The energy to see where that happened, nothing can prepare you for that. To know that those men are entombed in that water,
Mm-hmm.
to see how shallow the water is,
Oh
to
wow.
see how small the space was that Pearl Harbor happened in, you it's I for me it was life changing. It was one of those moments where you go, I saw the movie. Obviously I
Mm.
understand that Pearl Harbor happened. I really get that Pearl Harbor happened because I went and saw it for
Mhm.
myself.
Yeah.
So
Well, when
since
you
you're
wait.
so close, you're so close. You'll be able to see an incredible amount of stuff on the Hawaiian Islands that are, I mean, food wise, incredible food there too. But I was vegetarian when I was there, and like I mentioned, macadamia nuts in Hawaii are the best I've ever eaten in like ever. There's, I mean, they're grown there. There's
Yeah,
macadamia nut farms.
they're grown here. Yeah.
Yes, so it's so good. And I mean that in itself. I mean, a high fat nut, but still healthy as long as you don't eat like a
Oh
pound of
yeah.
them.
It's yeah.
So
I mean, it's those good fats that I mean, honestly, it's better than having oil poured onto your food. I always say it. I'd rather eat the oil than have it in my meal. Like I want to chew it. I want to chew the good fats. I don't want to just have something that's been pressed and added to the meal, because I don't think oil is really. I mean, I know it a little bit could enhance a meal in certain ways, but for the most part, that's the issue with people too, using too much oil.
I agree with you there too. So if everyone doesn't know, we're gonna have Philip tell you how you can get in touch with him, and the fact that if you haven't learned by now, he'd probably be a great health coach for you if you have any interest in whole food, plant based, and exercise, because he's incredibly fit as well. And he shared enough about himself during this hour plus that it sounds like he understands the psychology, he understands the physical part, he understands the eating. It sounds like you understand the macronutrients and the value of eating the foods that are less calorie dense than like not filling up with oil, but filling up with like a pound of broccoli, and getting your calories from whole food plant based, as opposed to throwing oil into everything and making it like 1,000 calorie meal because you put in like a quarter cup of oil into it. You
Yeah,
can eat so much more food for that quarter cup of oil's worth of calories. And the
exactly.
psychology that has to do with this as well, which is the leading reason why when you make changes, those changes stick. So sounds like a great person that if you need that push or that help or the start of your journey, that you would be someone that can really help someone create a lasting journey and not just a journey for now. So Philip, share how people get in touch with you.
Yes. Thanks for all that. Those kind words. And yeah, no, I think one of the things is I'm all about helping someone set up a good foundation and for a lasting journey. And I'm great at holding people accountable, because I think when you have someone in it with you, it makes you want to do it more and stay on top of it. And that's one of the things, like I always say with my coaching, is I want to give you that personalization. I'm not trying to coach a lot of people where I'm just like putting out a thing on a website and you download it and this is what you're learning. I want the interaction. That's the thing. Like if I'm not interacting with you, then I feel like I'm not helping you. I want to know, because everyone is different. Everyone has a different situation about how they're operating, what's going on in their life. So I like to give people the personalized attention, and I like to be almost an accountability coach for the first month, because I think that's the most important, part of it, because that's going to give you that foundation for change. You want, like, you have a goal for 30 days. I'm going to be checking in with you for the 30 days because I want you to succeed. Because if you don't succeed, then it doesn't fulfill me. Like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything for you. Like, it's not about money to me. It's about helping people change for the better, you know? And yeah, so if anyone is interested in one-on-one coaching, you can find me at myfittesthour.com. If you are interested in learning more about me, you can go to philipanthonymangan.com. If you want to read some of my informative blog posts about eating healthy, sustainable living, and mental and physical health, you can check me out on Instagram at _vegan model. And yeah, that's my main source of communication nowadays for people. And yeah, check me out if you guys can. I appreciate everyone watching, and feel free to shoot me a message. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, thank you so much for having me on here today.
Oh, thank you. This is fantastic. And everyone who is watching, because we've had a bunch of people watching, a bunch of people I know have watched while we've gone through this. So thank you for joining us and for supporting Virtual Veg Fest Live. And again, you can go to our YouTube channel and subscribe to be entered into our contest this month, which would be great. You can win some really cool prizes. And we see our numbers ticking up. So obviously, your odds get worse as the numbers go up, but that's better for Virtual Veg Fest, spreading the word about what we're doing. So our next live is on Saturday. We have a cooking demo. You can fill your vegan toolkit with Robin Aspel. And it's pretty funny. She's cooking something that hopefully people who know me watch. You'll like to see my reaction to what she's cooking. So that'll be fun. But Philip, you are amazing. This was fun for me. This was great for me to listen to you and learn from you and to hear your story and your journey. It's very inspiring, and we have similar personalities, so I can relate to a lot of what you were saying as well. So, and hopefully everyone else did too. And you know what? I'm all about people building their businesses. So hopefully if you get some people to come and have you coach them, that would be fantastic too, because, we all have to survive. And I usually end this is please wear a mask. Please social distance. Remember the mask goes over your nose, under your chin, not here and not here, down here or around your neck. That doesn't help. You need to wear a mask because the only way you'll see us in person and at a veg fest or any type of event we can have an education type day is if we all start wearing a mask and we get this virus under control. Let's do like Hawaii. He had a quarantine for 14 days when he got there. Hawaii is very strict with people coming to their islands. They do not want the virus to go out of control. They've done a great job of controlling it. We just need to do that in 49 other states. Actually less than that, 47, 46 other states.
A good amount. The majority.
The majority of them. So, or like the rest of the world, pretty much. We need to do that so that we can, us and our vendors and the people that are all part of this can survive. So everyone have a great rest of your Thursday, and we will see you on Saturday. Bye, everyone.
Bye.